to the woodshed again, and my second ever three-dimensional figure. I have decided that the carving of boobies is long overdue. So Maeve, warrior queen of Connacht that is. Why boobies? Why now, I hear you ask, and it is indeed a very good question. Well, it turns out that sculptors have been carving boobies for probably as long as humans evolved eyes to see. The female form in all its majesty has fascinated man and woman since the dawn of time, and rightly so. It has been asserted, and there has been much debate in recent years, that the woman as an independent, heroic entity has no mythological model, and that she has only recently begun to wrest power from the patriarchy, and thus entered into a competitive death match within the established hierarchy of today in the political world. Well, let me just say that Irish myth calls bullshit on that assertion right now, straight out the gate. Irish myth, prehistory and history is filled to the brim with shit-kicking, head-taking, badass bitches. And the so-called men who, in the last 100 years on this island, have indulged in political, moral and spiritual corruption, this cadre of perverted schleevines is but a festering pustule on the arse of an otherwise beautiful form. You see, as kids, we were not just told that the island itself was a woman. We were directed to look for ourselves, to gather the evidence of our own eyes and our own experience. For those with eyes to see, there she is, in the very landscape. Sometime around the turn of the first millennia, on this island it is said that a warrior queen ruled all the land west of the River Shannon. Her father was Yoey Féalach, High King of Ireland, and he conferred upon her the right to crown kings. And this she did enthusiastically. Her first husband became King of Ulster, who then became her mortal enemy, as sometimes is the way. Her most famous husband was her fourth husband, Ailill MacMahon. She famously married him simply because he could afford to keep her in the manner that she was accustomed, and he wasn't afraid of her, nor was he the type to get jealous, as he would regularly have had cause to be. Fergus MacRoach, the exiled former King of Ulster, was her most famous lover, and the three sons she bore him gave their names to Cork, Kerry and Connemara, and between herself and her sons she ruled the entire western seaboard of Ireland. The story of Maeve revolves around the sire bull of her fourth husband's herd, the great white-horned Finnbannock. Not having a match for Finnbannock in her own herd, Maeve, so as not to be outdone, went and retrieved a matching bull from her ex-husband in the kingdom of Ulster. An act so terrible it precipitated one of the most epic and disastrous wars in the prehistory of the island. Maeve embodied in her singular form the three Morigne, the three sisters who were the shadow aspects of the land. Together, the three Morigne represented dark sovereignty, war and fate. In Maeve, they found a dark expression. Her name derives from Mishke, which means intoxication, but not just in the sense of drunkenness and foolishness, but the toxifying nature of total power and total control. I have known her in my own lifetime, and aspects of her bubble up in all the women I have ever known. The enduring grace of my mother, the withering cynicism of my grandmother, and the no bullshit temerity of my Auntie Daisy. I have met her in these hills, and been terrified at times. I've met her in the dark shadows where I searched for my own sovereignty and courage. She is never not there, and always she chides with the admonition, "Pick yourself up, son, and get back in the fight, or I'll kick the living shit out of you myself." Maeve is no wallflower, no shrinking violet. Her story scoffs at the notion of safe spaces and feeble hearts. She demands that we take heads, defend what's ours, and take other people's shit if that's what needs to be done. If it's sovereignty you want, be ready to fight for it. That is the nature of power. The irony, in the end, or maybe the deeper truth, is that She died not by the hand of her husband, or her lover's husband, or by any of the many kings and princes she warred with, but she died by her own sister's daughter's hand. The bull that she sits astride was ultimately impossible to tame, and as with her quest for power and her great ambition, it left nothing but destruction in its wake.